they're full of shit. Now, the other thing is, I was around a fella named Vic Marcello who managed fighters out of Newark, New Jersey, and he set the tone for nights like this. He's on the radio one night in a restaurant, when they used to have them on the radio in restaurants, shows at night, and he's being interviewed, and he sits down and he says, "Keith, let's reminisce about tomorrow night's fight." And that's where I stand. Today and tomorrow, I don't want to go back over my life. I don't want to start doing that because it is boring, I think, number one. And number two, I'll start lying to you and I won't tell the truth. It'll make no difference. I know that there's one thing going on today that will be the future, I think, as far as any writing I'm doing or thinking, and that is this war in Afghanistan will be settled with one word in this country: draft. When you hear them talking about that word, you'll know it's real. And that's when the tumult will start. And with that, there's no sense going into it. He did mention Seymour the pirate. I can't let it pass. I was sitting there. Him I have to bring up. He had a wife, Mrs. Pirate, we call her. They had a World's Fair here in New York, and Seymour the pirate had the Belgian Village Pavilion. And they caught him with kangaroo meat he was serving for the hamburgers. And he had a line of Shylocks coming there, looked like a ticket line. So he's in Miami, they're in Fort Lauderdale, and Mrs. Pirate's mother died. And Seymour is broke. He was in a guard dog. The fella did have guard dogs that were yellow. So he's in the cemetery with his wife at the mother's funeral. And Seymour's trying to look sad, very worried about finances. And a lawyer comes up to him and says, "Boy, she loved you." And Seymour had paid her rent a few times when he had the money. And he said, "That's nice. Yeah, she left you everything she had." Seymour grimaces. "Well, she left me $42. And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, $6 million she left." Seymour says, "Just say it again, I want to know." $6 million. He says, "Can somebody steal it before I get it?" "No." "It's yours. It's you and your wife. She left the money." "Good." He nodded. Now here is how he handled life. He went from the funeral, from the cemetery, with the putting dirt on a casket. He took his wife by the hand and they went to the Miami airport. He got out a credit card with full confidence it would be all right someday. It was absolutely lousy now. He bought 2 tickets to Copenhagen, Denmark. It was the first plane they could get, and he took her away. No clothes, don't even stop for a toothbrush. We'll buy that. That's how he lived. And then when they heard that he was in Copenhagen, everybody wanted to know where it was because they wanted to go and break his legs. He owed the money. I started, I'm going to tell one thing about these newspapers, which everybody's lamenting. I started when I was 15 years old. I got a job, somebody got a job for me at the New York Journal-American to be a copy boy, carrying copy around. I had to get working papers. I went to PS 50 on 101st Avenue, where I live in. This was in South Jamaica now, the school. And I signed papers. I'm going to get this job. And I had a letter from the Journal-American saying they were hiring me. And the woman, a big, heavy-set Irish woman, wouldn't okay me for working papers. I couldn't get the job. I was in tears. I wanted to choke. How the hell you could do this to me? It's all I have. It's all I ever want in life, to work in newspaper. And you're depriving me of this, no matter how young I was. Now, looking back on it, she was trying to do me a hell of a favor, I guess. The bum didn't make her edict stand up. I was in work the next year. I would have been done better if I needed working papers again. Now, what I've been doing is I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. I'm listening to all this talk about me. Believe me, I said it, I'm no good. Forget about me. You don't want to hear about it anyway. I'm not drinking. If I were drinking at the bar with you, I could tell a lot of lies and I would almost be charming. Almost. But I can't drink. The doctors got me off drinking. And it started with Moynihan is the reason I'm not drinking. He came into this fabled New York Daily News at 11 o'clock in the morning for what they call an editorial conference. And he was a senator from the state of New York. He walked in, he looked around, they had a table set up with a lot of drinks on it, morning drinks, with orange juice or something, you swallow it. And he said, he looked at it with the vodka and orange juice, and he had a big drink, and he said, "First today." Well, that was like the theme song for the rest of the day. 11 o'clock at night, we were in the joint around the corner from the paper, Costello's, "First today." And I went home and I was a piece of formica for the next 4 days. And that's given me recurring trouble, and I can't drink, so therefore I can't do a damn thing for you. What, are we gonna go have a cup of coffee? No. No, so. Now, what I can do is to break away from the chain of talking about Breslin. It's not worth it, really. And I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning today thinking, I'm writing a book. I'm thinking fiction. I'm thinking, what am I going to do in this thing tonight? I got to figure something out here. Let me grab a piece of this and take it and read it to them. If they don't like it, I can't help them. So, but here is what I've been doing, and it's a book being written at a time like this, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'll read you a couple of pages of it to try and kill the clock, as they say. The winter rain stormed out of the dawn, heavy, cold winter rain that soaked through her shoulders and down into the soul. She thought, I'm left alone in the doorway, pulling the coat around me, good and lonely in the rain. Now, her name is Gloria McKeever. I've got other parts of the book introducing her. She says, I walked across the road from the Air Force barracks to the high building with a small sign at the bottom, Dover Mortuary. Right away, just before, I called my mother, the way God knows I do every day, at Linden Boulevard, in Ozone Park, in Queens, in New York. Did you meet any people, she asked. She meant men. She has made this the most important thing in the world, in the whole of my life. Me, the daughter, should have a man. She never said that when I did have one, a legitimate husband. She called him every name in the book. He wasn't worth cooking one dinner for. She told me every chance she could. Now she asks me about a man. And she asks every morning since I closed the door on Eddie Lochran as he walked out. Now, she goes across the street from the Air Force barracks to the building with the small sign, Dover Air Force. That's the Air Force Base mortuary. They rolled the first body bag into the room where the three of us were doing dental identification. She's a colonel in forensic dentistry. Starting, we had to find 32 teeth, 32 32 teeth to document that this was the right soldier. If somebody in Ohio yells to the sky that they got the wrong body, they want us to be transferred into a forest fire. I put my hand on the gurney, and a feeling climbed through my arm, rising so strongly in the silent air that it was almost a sound. It comes. I'm going to change pages. See, in a book, I wouldn't have to do this for you. The feeling comes from a hidden place somewhere between where he was killed in a desert in Afghanistan and the last particles of life leaving from a table in the morgue here in Delaware. So we start the day. I rip open the body bag and, "Holy Jesus," the one attendant with me says, looking at it. "Good Christ," the other one working in the room says. The right side of the head is no more. There was the inner lining of the skull, shiny red, and the left eye alone, the one eye wide open. Usually the eyes are closed. If they're not, then somebody pushes them down before they close the body bag. This eye is high and staring, 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 staring. The side of his face that was still here looked like a high school boy's. Jesus, did the mother ever think of this when she had him, sending him out to what? To this? And it had to be something rigged to be high, what did to him, because they know our troops had no head or collar protection. The armor never got above the shoulders, leaving the carotid artery out there like a death notice. Large, bright, blue-gray eyes staring up at me, totally startled, in disbelief, staring. We had an X-ray machine hooked up to the computer, and this was taking a picture we needed of his chest. The computer falls over. I pick it up. "Come on now, we've got to get done here." I said that to the eye, and it made no difference. Here he goes again, knocking the computer over. I tell him stop. I say he did it. I'm telling him because that computer does not go over on its own. Picking it up, I sighed. "Come on now, we've got to get done here." What was still in him heard me. He made the computer tip over again. "Show you." The eye ruled the time when it could leave life. The dog tags were there all right, hanging from nothing. Rosario. The uniform tag read the same. Rosario. I said, "I don't know you or of you, but I pray for you. Now I'll do my job. Look at your teeth. They're in pieces and down in your stomach, and now I reach into your stomach to collect your teeth." The eye supervised my hand. Gray-green eye. Steady, suddenly. After only these moments, I felt that eye was not going to leave me for a long time. That's it. That's the start of a fiction book, and I hope to get to the finish someday, and you can buy it in a store. And in the meantime, I walk out of here, and everybody's talking about politics or crime, and we're around them. I'll tell one story. I did start when I finally started at the Long Island Press. It was an election night in 1948. Norman Newhouse of the Newhouse family is sitting at the desk, and he walks into the wire room. In those days, you had machines clacking, making noise. They don't have Twitters. I don't know what they had. They don't have anything like that. They had AP, UP, bulletins, bells ringing, newspaper work. It was great. He rips the wire, and he walks out, and he says, "I'll be a son of a bitch." They had bet their lives on Dewey winning the presidency. Now he had this one narrow slip of paper that he'd ripped off the machine, and it said that Harry S. Truman was going to be reelected. At that same moment, In the Biltmore Hotel over in Manhattan, there's a state police captain named Galvin, was in charge of the detail for the governor of the state, Thomas E. Dewey. The door opened and in came Secret Service men. One of them tapped him on the shoulder and said, "We're taking over the next president now, and you're through, you're relieved." Galvin said, "Good," and he went and got a drink. He'll watch. So he's got the drink going, and all of a sudden, here's Dewey with the same move that Newhouse had, coming out of the wire room they had at the Biltmore with a slip of paper in his hand. He was in stocking feet, Galvin remembered. He looked at the slip of paper. He said just what Newhouse said. Dewey said, "I'll be a son of a bitch." With that, Galvin put the drink down. He went and stood next to Dewey. The Secret Service men faded out of the room and were gone. And Dewey was the president, except one thing happened. He woke up in the morning and he saw the story about the Secret Service men leaving the room on him. Those disloyal sons of bitches that forget the election, forget the votes, they walked out on me. One went to South America, one went to the Aleutians, one agent was sent to Alaska. That took care of them. And that's the first political story I remember. It was a true story. And it was true, and it was the only human thing I think has happened. The guy meant it when he said they were disloyal to him. Now we're down to, what's the stories today about the two frauds, those two people I despise, that crashed into the White House and they're putting it on the Secret Service. You know, unfortunately, in my time, I've had to go around these things, and I was typing a story in the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, California, when I heard the tray dropping. I thought somebody dropped the tray. It was gunfire shooting Robert Kennedy. The kid that did it had been at a party right outside the doors of the kitchen for Max McCarthy, a politician. They wore straw hats and drank whiskey. And he walked in, wandered out of the party, nobody there to stop him, walked through and was in the kitchen. When Kennedy walked in, they shot him. Now, with that in your mind, and these two fools walking around and trying to, they think it's cute to walk around and remind you of things like that. And I think maybe they could do a nice, pleasant bit in a can someplace and teach them manners in America. And with that, I'll leave, but the Obama thing was no surprise if you came from New York. I remember into the way it came was the John Deere 699 cotton picker worked its way across the South, and the people are changing the South forever. One machine did the work of 90 people, and as the cotton picker went across, the people headed north. And into Brooklyn they came, into New York they came, in numbers so large that at first we couldn't handle them. And it was a migration that nearly brought New York to its knees financially. But the city survived it and kept going. The education got better. It still is a long way to go, but we tried. It was the city did everything it could to take care of these people. They happened not to be white, but we displayed a tolerance that no one has anywhere in the world. We did in New York. And in the end, after all these years, it was a thing for which the city can forever be proud, the way they handled that migration. And it had to rub off on the candidacy of a Barack Obama. When he wins, he should bow his head and thank New York. Thank you. Good.
all and for coming, and to all a good night.